when you try to put a lot of energy into the start, it is kind of hard to stop it. But that difficulty is that stored energy that you've talked about, right? Because all that energy is, I'm fighting like crazy not to let it go, but that's where that effortless power is. So when you're watching somebody on tour, it almost looks like a uniform speed all the way back and all the way back through, but that's not a uniform effort. They're putting the effort in early, and then it's kind of effortless from that point forward.
Yeah, so I think I text you effortless power versus powerless effort, right? So
yeah. It's like a milk base. It's basically just milk, chicken, and butter. But holy crap, it's good. So I had a bunch of that. Anyway, well, welcome to the best golf podcast ever. Let's see, what is this, Black Friday? I'm in honor of Black Friday. I'm in like all black here. So I don't know. It might be Christmas by the time we get this out, but we are recording this on Black Friday. I think Black Friday is my one favorite day of the year to be single, because absolutely nobody wants to make me go shopping or any of that kind of crap. So I enjoy it. It's one day a year that I absolutely celebrate the fact that I don't have a whole lot to do today. So why not get together with you guys and talk golf? So.
Well, I have my bah humbug critique of the Black Friday deal. So remember when Black Friday like first became a thing, like, I don't know, what, 15, 20 years ago, and it was like, oh, flat screen TVs on sale, 50% off, and people would just fight and at the stores, and like, it's good now that a lot of it's online or whatever, but I remember having this moment sitting at a Thanksgiving dinner table, and I was sitting there like, we sit here at this table and say what we're thankful for, how grateful for all the abundance we have. We live in the United States, blah, 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 blah. There's food on the table. No one's hungry. And then literally less than 24 hours later, we're punching each other in the face for flat screen TVs because we don't have enough. Like, it's just like, it was just mind boggling to me. I was like, I want to draw this little comic strip, of like, thank you for the meal. And then there's like the tumbleweed of arms and legs, flat screen TVs, $500 off or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the American way, right? Say everything that's the right thing to say one day, and then 12 hours later, do the absolute opposite. So
pretty much.
That's just how we do it. Me and my mom were talking about this morning that Black Friday is not what it used to be, I guess. It's not nearly as, chaotic, I guess, since COVID. But I've got Thanksgiving. It's always weird with the kid schedule and stuff. So I'm getting ready to leave. I'm at my parents' now. And as soon as we finish here, I'm taking the older kids back to their moms, but my youngest is staying here with my parents for the weekend. So nice. I think I'm going to go home and head over to the studio, and I'm going to work on rhythm for the next like 72 hours. So I've used up all of my Sully's hours, which I think is good because
you have a dual membership to the same club, to Sully's,
and I still use them all up.
I'm surprised they don't just put you a cot in the back for you to sleep there so that you can just, save rent and everything.
We've had conversations about it. The problem is the liquor license makes it a little tricky for them. They can't just leave random people in there with all that liquor around. So,
makes sense.
Bureaucracy and red tape. But anyway, lot to talk about though. I think I want to talk about Tot Hill Farm. I think that's a story I want to hear. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, I mentioned this to Tony the other day. I said I wanted to talk about this on the next podcast, and I couldn't remember if we had this conversation on a podcast yet or not, but I don't think we have. I'm very thankful for the two of you guys, really, and I mean that seriously. It's not just a joke. I mean, my golf game is improving at a much faster clip than it ever has before, and I feel really good. Not physically at the moment, Mike. I told you, like my new physical goal is to lose the weight that I gained since we talked last. But I'm really thankful for you guys. And Tony and I were talking the other day. I was telling him, you're maybe the only teacher I've ever had. We've observed and acknowledged I'm a head case. Okay, you're the first teacher I've ever worked with who doesn't try to make me stop being a head case. Like, you just own it. That that's what I am. And you just work around it. So like, I'll ask you these stupid questions, and you don't say it in exactly these terms, but your attitude's kind of like, I'm going to go ahead and answer your stupid question. Then I'm going to tell you why that doesn't matter. But you don't try to like patronize me into like, tap dancing around it. You'll at least acknowledge my question and then tell me that the answer doesn't matter. But I just appreciate that about you. So, but I thought that was an important thing to talk about for any teachers out there. that you got to adapt to the student. You can't make me not a head case any more than you can make me 6'2". That's just how I am. You just got to figure out how to work with what you got.
Amen, brother.
Well, I'm thankful to you guys as well. As y'all know, I'm going through a rough year, and this is the first Thanksgiving I don't have my kids with me, so that's tough. I'll get them next Thanksgiving, obviously, but it's just it's tough when you're going through stuff. And I've been very grateful for you guys. Just that random few holes Garrett and I got to play together started this whole thing, and it's always I always look forward to it on my calendar when I get to talk to you guys. So I really appreciate your friendship and brotherhood, and it's just been. I raise my glass to you, sirs.
Raise my bottle of water to you. I'm speaking in the spirit of jealousy now. I'm really jealous of what you got in your glass. It looks a heck of a lot better than what I got in mine right now.
And just a little wild turkey 101 to get into the festive, spirit.
A&M's, you guys got Texas this weekend?
Tonight.
Oh, it's tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
A&M and Texas, this is pretty much the season's on the line here. They're undefeated. They had that scare against South Carolina. Whoop, that's right. And if they don't win tonight, though, I think the whole season's pretty much the playoffs will be a moot point. They probably won't be in the top 4 after tonight if they lose, but they're not going to lose. They're going to do good. My twin brother, though, he's still in Texas, and he sent me a screenshot today of like the overall all-time record for A&M versus UT in this kind of Thanksgiving Day game, and the odds are not good. It's quite a bit to not very much.
He shouldn't have sent that to you.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it'll be a good game no matter what. And then North Carolina State plays University of North Carolina tomorrow, so that'll be another good one. State's won the last 2 in a row, I think, or 2 or 3. Ever since I've been here, I don't think that we've lost to them. So that's gonna be a pretty awesome game too, hopefully.
Yeah, I watched football all day yesterday. I had a really big fantasy football matchup. It's do or die, and nothing went well. I actually had a receiver manage to go for negative points, so he was better off not playing. Would have appreciated that, but
I'll tell you what, not one of those 3 games went the way I thought they would. I thought I picked the wrong team for every single one of them. That was crazy.
So Tony, how many coaches really do embrace the concept of adapting to the player's style of learning as opposed to trying to force feed their style of teaching onto that? Because maybe I'm wrong about it. I mean, I've worked with some great teachers. I don't mean this to be belittling. Can I say that? I don't mean this to be belittling towards them. It's just that I just really, me and you talked about this on the phone the other day. You're a sciencey kind of guy too that likes to get into the details a little bit. And a lot of times, we've talked about this before. A lot of times, I go into the weeds just to see what I can learn, and then I'm trying to learn how to bring myself back out of it and say, okay, we went there, that's fine. Now get away from it and get back to something else. But you'll answer my random 1030. Exactly what degree angle should the right wrist uncock and win, and you'll be like, okay, well, I'll answer your question. But how are we doing on that not swinging too hard thing?
Yeah, how are we doing on the one thing we said we were going to work on? Like, master this before we start talking about radial and ulnar deviation and closure rate and supination. No, but so, it's an interesting thing because you have what I would classify as method instructors. They have a method they teach, or you have schools, right? Like entire philosophies, like the Ledbetter Academies, right? Or different schools of thought on things. Stack and Tilt, One Play and Swing, Todd Gray's Mo Norman Academy. And there's nothing wrong with having a framework that you utilize to instruct your students. My whole thing is what happens when you have a student who doesn't fit that model or physically can't do it, right? So how do you still work with that player and help them to get the best out of their potential? Or what do you do when the student doesn't really want to make a huge swing overhaul to fit into your method? They just want to stop 3-putting, or they just want to hit the ball in play a few more times. But the problem is it's much more fiscally advantageous to create schools and methods, because then you can hire instructors and train them on how to then deliver that content, or you can sell online programs with instructional videos that just tell you how to do the method. Sign up for a once-a-month coaching evaluation or swing analysis, see how you're coming along. And then you can have entire week-long camps running 200-300 people through there and have your 10 instructors delivering, and you can just rake in the money, right? So, and you can write books, this, that, and the other. So there's no right way or wrong way, and a lot of those methods obviously have done a lot of good for people. But like I'll take an example today from this. I've been working with this junior, and his dad brings him to the lessons, every single time. And he's, hitting balls on the side, or he's making sure that he understands what I'm teaching the son so they can work on it at home. But he said he finally got in and was like, "Hey, I wanna take some coaching too. I wanna be able to play with my son and support him." He's like, "But I've got this lower back stuff, these pinched discs, stuff like that." He's like, "So I understand I'm not gonna be able to play from the tips. I'm not gonna hit it 300 yards, but I wanna be able to play pain-free with my son for the next 10 years, just to support him." I was like, "Okay, fine." I said, "If you can tell me verbally and mentally commit to the fact that if we can get you a T-ball that goes 220 yards and we can really improve your short game, you can play the forward tees or the senior tees and go have fun with your son." He's like, "That's all I care about. That's all I wanna do." And so now we're starting to work together, and, I just showed him one thing with his setup and throughout the swing to work on just to alleviate tension from the lower back, the discs in the lower back, and he was like, "I never thought about that. It makes so much sense." And he was able to actually move and make some swings for an entire lesson without really having pain for the first time. So that was good, really good progress. But again, it was all about like understanding his limitations, asking a lot of questions, doing some evaluation, TPI type stuff, so that we can then build something specific and unique to him that he can then play with. Right? I'm not going to put him into Sergio Garcia or Ben Hogan or whatever. We're not going to do that. That doesn't make sense. We're not going to put him into the modern golf swing, laying the arms down and rotating hard through the shot. We're not going to do that. It just doesn't make any sense for him and his goals and what he's capable of doing. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. But again, I'm a low volume coach right now. I don't have a family to feed with my golf lessons. So I'm able to do that a little bit differently. If I needed to, you know, run a business and my golf lessons were my sole source of income, then, I might have to consider some other offerings versus
Yeah,
strictly just individualized one-on-one stuff. But I
yeah,
prefer that because it's more beneficial, I think, to the student. But just, yeah, you kind of have to understand the industry and understand where it comes from.
yeah. Well, the last time we talked, I want to give a my journal, I guess, of the diary of a speed addict who's trying to slow down a little bit, and that sounds actually really bad when you say it that way.
Speed
I
addict.
might want to consider rephrasing that. It sounded good until I said it out loud, and then I realized how it sounds. But we talked about on the last podcast that I needed to slow down, and I did. I really, we joked about how bad I am to take your good advice and then just like ball it up and throw it in the corner until I'm good and ready to look at it. But I really have the last few weeks tried to focus on that. So I did. The next day I went in and I just tried to focus on swinging slow, and I hit it absolutely terrible. I think I sent a group text. I was like, "This is the hardest thing I've ever tried to do." I mean, this is the most complicated feeling swing change ever to just slow down. And then slowly, just like bit by bit, I started to get the feel for it. And an interesting thing that I found was like, let's just call my base swing speed, because most of my practice right now is with an 8 iron if I'm trying to groove something. My base swing speed's probably around 90, 91, 92. It is really hard for me to swing it lower than 87. Like, even when I'm going as easy as I can, it feels like to get it to go under 80 miles per hour, I've got to just like, ooh, like just
Mhm.
barely move it. So as I started to do that a little bit and just try to work at different tempos and different speeds, I started to notice, I told you this the other day, when you get it to the top and you transition, I could actually start to feel the momentum where I couldn't feel it before because I was just swinging so hard. I couldn't feel the club momentum. But there's a lot of momentum and stored energy coming out of the top of the backswing just from the club head. And that's where I was having a hard time controlling the speed on the way back down because, I mean, it's trying to whip itself through. So as I started to work through this for a few days, and I noticed something that on video. I don't think we talked about this, Tony, but you had talked about coiling and coil shift and release basically. And I noticed on video the other day that while my hips and everything I'm trying to rotate through really hard, I never really release my shoulders. My shoulders don't square back up to my hips until way post impact, like almost as it's coming through, almost at the finish before my shoulders square up. So started to try to feel like, okay, let it all, like as soon as I shift, let's let it all start to unwind a little bit. And as I've gone through this, I started to feel a little bit more comfortable in finding the rhythm. And I got to a point where even when I wasn't trying to swing fast, I was swinging faster. Even when I was trying to have that smooth rhythm. And then I texted you guys the other day. Things just started to click the other day, and I had the league round at Sully's, and I told you guys this was like 10 Cups paradise. This was nothing but like dogleg par fours that you could drive over. You know, if you were willing to take the chance on hitting it out of bounds, which I was. I shot 41 with 3 balls out of bounds. By far my high round of the year. But I found some speed that I couldn't control apparently, but I clocked in 123 club speed and 176 ball speed that day. Now those couple I was going after, but even when I wasn't trying to, I've got 4 or 5 swings saved on my phone right now, and the harder I swing, the slower the speed seems to be on them. So I'm starting to feel that a little bit, and starting to find that the only place that I put energy into it is that takeoff, just right there from address to about hip high on the way back. And as long as I start to slow down at that point and gather it up a little bit, I have a really good rhythm and really good speed coming to the ball. It's a really interesting exercise. It's not taking me as long as I thought it was going to. I feel pretty good about where I'm at with it. I've got to still. It's actually kind of created some things though, where now that I'm moving slower, I can isolate my movements a little bit more and start to figure out. Oh, this is why when I actually need to be uncoiling my shoulders a whole lot sooner, but I also need to stay in posture to do that because I'm starting to see how where I lift up out of the shot. When I'm swinging it back, I kind of get it about halfway back and then I stand up out of the shot on the way back. That early extension is not really a downswing thing. It's a top of the backswing thing. But I'm moving slow enough on the way back now to be able to feel that and feel those things start to come out. So it has been a great exercise. And at the end of the day, slowing down for 2 weeks has ended up generating a decent amount more club speed. So I can testify that it's worked out really well. You were right. Good job.
Well, so here's something interesting, right? So me and the kids are starting Taekwondo together, just kind of like as a family, me and the kids bonding thing and helping them with their confidence and getting them at some athletics. They hadn't done anything for a while, organized. And, you don't throw the kids straight into sparring, full contact sparring, right? You start them off slow, you do the drills, you do the forms, you level up just like a video game character, and then you slowly start to introduce combat, right? You don't just go like, all right, here you go, fight. And just hope it's going to go well. So that's the same thing with like having you slow down is, as you said, now you can be aware of your body movements more. When you just go straight into sparring, you're just like, "Yeah, I don't know how to fight. I'm just doing whatever and just trying to survive." And that's basically what your brain is doing when it's going full in. It's like throwing a kid into the deep end of a pool and they have never had a swimming lesson. It might be okay. They might figure it out, but it's probably not going to be efficient and there's probably going to be some trauma there, so versus building into it. So it's no different than that. The hard part with golf and with golfers a lot of times is, especially people who pick it up later in life, is they don't have the time they think in their head to devote to learning something like they would have learned it when a kid. That slow, gradual, exploratory, really focused, really engaged process. They just see golf is fun. I want to go play with my friends and I don't want to make a fool of myself. And that's it. So they just, I got to do it and I got to do it fast and I got to hit it hard and I got to do all this stuff. Or someone who's been playing for a long time who never really had any instruction or guidance. They develop these habits. They watch the YouTubes and read the books and they piecemeal something together. And then you have to untangle it all and try and figure out resorting it all, So it takes time and it's a process. And kudos to you because most people don't want to do it. They don't want to put in the effort to relearn something, They just want it to magically be better. It's like with Mike, right? Like you got a guy who comes in who's 40 pounds overweight and can't touch their toes. And they want to be in shape tomorrow. Like it just doesn't work that way. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I try to find out what they can do. If you're coming in, yeah, out of shape, stiff, like you do with guys that their swing is just terrible. It's like, how can we have success right off the bat, and then like I'm gonna give you some low-lying fruit to grab so you can feel good about what we're doing, and then as you get better, we start reaching a little bit higher.
Well, one of the things with the swing that and Tony, you may need to correct the way I say this, but this is the way it's felt to me at least. When you're watching somebody on video, or even I'm watching myself on video, I feel like I am swinging so fast off the ball, and then I feel like I am grinding to a complete stop in the top of the backswing, and then trying my best to not swing fast on the way back down. And then when I watch it, it looks like I am pretty slow off the ball and really fast at the top. And some of that I think there's a little bit of a difference in the effort you put in and the speed that you see, because you've got to remember that you're starting with a club at rest. An object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays in rest. A lot of the effort that I'm putting in early is going into getting the club moving. And then as I'm trying to back off, it's almost this weird, I don't know if I'm describing this the right way, but around that midpoint where I'm trying to slow down, the club seems to feel like it's speeding up, because that's almost like the inverse of what's happening at impact. I am stopping the body's rotation, but the arms are still attached to that, and they're going to continue to sling the club on back, and it's starting to speed up as I'm trying to slow the body down. And then as I try to transition, even though I'm not trying to swing fast, all of that energy, and I was just trying to describe this to somebody the other day. I was playing golf with somebody who was like brand new to it, and I was trying to explain this concept to him, and he's like, "It's just so hard to stop it." I said, "Yeah, it is hard to stop it. When you move with when you try to put a lot of energy into the start, it is kind of hard to stop it. But that difficulty is that stored energy that you've talked about, right? Because all that energy is, I mean, I'm fighting like crazy not to let it go, but that's where that effortless power is, because it takes energy to stop it there, but the energy you're putting into stopping it's actually starting to speed it up and kind of load everything up for that slingshot. So when you're watching somebody on tour, it almost looks like a uniform speed all the way back and all the way back through, but that's not a uniform effort. They're putting the effort in early, and then it's kind of effortless from that point forward. But it appears on video to be that they're just same rate of acceleration all the way through, but that's just what it looks like. It's not necessarily what's actually happening.
Yeah, so I think I text you effortless power versus powerless effort, right? So
Yeah.
we've all seen people who swing the hell out of the club as fast and as hard as they can on the driving range, and it goes 200 yards, right? Like it doesn't go anywhere, and you're just like, how in the world? And like I have like my students, I'll just have them look up and down the range, and I'm like, watch the sequence. They don't have a shift before it uncoils. They go back and they go through and try to add energy through the shot. And like once you can see it, and once you know what you're looking for, you're like, oh, that's not at all what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And the more you watch the great players, the LPGA, the PGA, the college players, the top juniors, you're like, yep, they got that effortless. Because again, it's just like anything. It's a gymnast, a diver in Olympic diving or competitive diving. They're putting in a lot of energy in the system. They're getting a lot out of the system, but it's so fluid and graceful and sequenced and timed well that it looks like just poetry in motion, right? People
Mhm.
used to say about Ernie Els how it didn't look like he swung fast, like he's the Big Easy. Everything's just so languid and slow. But if you actually clocked his club head speed, he was a big hitter, right? He hit the ball plenty far.
Ernie Els, BJ Singh, Freddie Couples are probably the three that stand out the most, as that just they had such clubhead speed without looking like they were. Even Tiger
Yeah.
to some extent. Tiger didn't look like he was putting a lot of, I mean, you could definitely see the speed, but most of the time it did not look like he was trying to.
Yeah, and Tiger's kind of a showman too on some of those shots where he's hooking a shot around a tree. Like he definitely added a little gusto, bravado, like this is kind of in the hold off finishes and those recoil and all that stuff. Like he definitely knew what he was doing from a showman standpoint, right? He was that good, he could do that. But yeah, I mean, like again, like when you watch a high jumper, professional high jumper or long jumper or a professional sprinter, they just look graceful no matter what they do. And you know they're working and generating so much force and energy. But again, we talk a lot about kinematic sequence and 3-to-1 ratio and this, that, and the other. That's what gives it such that fluid look. That's what makes it look athletic and graceful, is because it is sequenced properly. It's
Yeah.
proper, it's the energy is stored and released in the right spots versus, let me add some crazy chaos energy into the system when it doesn't need to be there, when we need just be flowing with the energy.
One of the things that it was so confusing to me in the first few times that I was going out and trying to hit these shots at different speeds, as you were telling me, is that I started to eventually go back and clock my rhythm. And it was like, it didn't matter if I was trying to swing slow, medium, fast, or out of my shoes. I was somewhere between 0.65 and 0.75 back and zero point 0.2 to 0.25 down every single time, whether I was hitting an 8-iron 100 yards, 170 yards, or anything in between. And I'm just like, how is that even freaking possible? It feels like you could time me with a sundial on those slow ones. And somehow or another, it's still 0.75 back and 0.25 down. And I mean, that's a good thing. My rhythm stays right around that 2.8 to 3 to 1, right? But to me, it felt like it was just once in a while it would creep a little bit north of 3 to 1, like maybe 3.25 to 1 if I got a little too long on the way back. Because my downswing was the same speed every single time. I mean, my downswing was it's 0.2 to 0.25 every single. It doesn't matter. Hell, a putter's probably the same thing. You know, it just seems like it's always the exact same. But I'm like, how? I don't understand how that works. But there's a video. I think I sent this to you, but this helped me a lot. There's a guy, Danny Mauld, I think is his name. He's another YouTube channel, and he does one where he talks about trying to feel like you're holding a like a heavy bag in front of you, like a 10-pound bag in front of you, and you're just trying to swing that. So the analogy that I started to kind of figure out in my head is that, okay, it's that same rhythm, whether it's a 5-pound bag or a 20-pound bag. When I'm trying to swing it at 100 miles an hour with a driver, that feels like I'm trying to move a 5-pound bag. And if I'm trying to go for 115, then it feels maybe more like a 20-pound bag, but it's the same sequence. Either way, and I actually was walking around carrying a bag of stuff one day and like a gallon of milk or something, and I'm start to do this a little bit. And it's like if you take a 10-pound dumbbell or a 10-pound kettlebell and you try to swing that thing back, if you try to swing, I almost dare any viewer or listener out there to try to take a 10-pound kettlebell, swing it to the top, and then swing it back down as hard as you can. It will fly out of your hands. You can't control it. In order to have any rhythm at all with that, you have to slow down and then wait for it to start to fall back in front of you before you rotate through. And that's so foreign to me, because to me, I feel like once I get to here, I've got to fire everything. But I'm learning that I've got to sling it up there and then feel that momentum fall down on its own and then turn the body through. And then when I video it, I'm actually rotating just as much or more as I ever was before. It's just now it's in much more, it's a lot better sequence. So that's been a really helpful way of thinking about it for me.
Yeah, the golf club is just too light in general for people to be able to feel it. Like, again, if I gave someone a axe or a hammer throw, like in the track and field, right, your body's going to naturally move with that weight and counterbalance it, and you're going to sequence it well because that's the only way to throw something heavy. I do have in my classroom at Lonnie Pool, I have a 10-pound kettlebell, right, for that exact reason. Like when someone's so used to coming over the top and they're out of sequence, I'm like, just swing this back and forth, perpetual motion, nonstop. Learn how to step before it comes down and get the pressure shifting. And if you're trying to add energy with that, you're going to be using your arms and it's going to hurt. Your body's not going to, like Mike, if you were teaching someone to do a kettlebell or a medicine ball toss against the wall, right, and they're just throwing it with their arms, they're going to be gassed because their arms are going to be sore versus learning how to use the big muscles, how to sequence properly, right? It's much more easy and natural to learn that with big, heavier objects than it is with a golf club because the golf club is just too light and you can manipulate it so easily. That's one of the biggest challenges with golf.
Well, and the other day, kind of going back to my, testimony to Tony's process the other day, when I hit those, I texted you the other day, I wasn't going for speed. That was not a speed day. I wasn't going in there and like, let's go, go hard. I will say though, one of the holes that I knew I was going to be playing pretty aggressive on had a 280-yard carry to get it. If you wanted to take the line to go at the green, you had to carry it 280. So as I was just finishing my warm up, I wanted to just see if I had 280 in me. Like, okay, how many balls out of 5 am I going to hit 280 so I can know if I want to take that shot or not? And the first couple of balls, I think I hit around 115, 116 club speed. And I just thought, man, my sequence is just a little bit off weight on it, just a little bit more. And the very next one was 119. Now, my all-time high was 118 until a month ago, right? So I'm looking at that, and I'm like, man, I wasn't even really going after that one at all. And then I might have turned the next few balls into a mini speed session just to see if I could, get a little bit more out of it. But it was funny. I didn't think that if you would have asked me, even by watching the video back, I would have said 114, 115 is probably what that one clocked in at. I wouldn't have even guessed that it was that much, but you cannot overstress how important the sequencing is to getting not just consistency, but yeah, even club head speed.
So I'll go to Mike here with a baseball analogy. Because again, it's not that you're adding more effort. You're not throwing your arms harder or rotating faster. You are building more potential energy. You are building the energy from the start. So Mike, when you're just warming up baseball, right? You're just tossing with the other infielders or whatever just to get the arms loose. It's a small, subtle leg swing, sway, and then the arm goes soft. But then you watch these guys, the center fielder throwing to home plate. It's a huge crow hop, maybe even two or three to build that energy. And then, boom, it just slings out. Right. So, but
Right.
you watch the lower body motion, you watch the gathering and the building. They're building the energy that they need to be used, right? They're just building it into the whole sequence in motion. Yeah, again, like we're just tossing the ball, back and forth, catcher to the pitcher after a ball or whatever. Watch that, and then watch the center fielder have to chunk one from the wall to home plate to beat the runner going around. You're going to see a lot more energy build up.
Yeah, the sequence is very similar because there's the ball is behind the ear, and then the torso is starting to rotate everything through, and just like the wrist flicks and the ball comes out of the fingers. It's just like when that club head comes through, the sequence is, pretty much the same as if you want to get as much out of your throw as you can. Yeah, it's a good analogy. I like it.
It's all athletic motion. I mean, that's what it is at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, Tony, I texted you or called you or FaceTimed or something the other day talking about the release, how to, different ways you can release the club. And something that you said, I think you basically just said, well, if you were going to throw a ball, how would you do it? And like, tell me when do you think you would release this and when you would do that? And I was like, I don't know. I would just get to here, let it go. And you're like, exactly. That was one of those things where you like answered my question, but still at the end of the day, like it was eventually trying to get me back to something simple. But I started thinking about it. If I were trying to turn the concept that I've been trying to apply to my golf swing to throwing a ball, I've been trying to store that energy until the absolute last second and then let it all out at the very last microsecond. And I was thinking about that. If that were throwing a baseball, that would be the equivalent of like winding it up, getting it to right here, and then holding all of this until the very last second, and then like right here, trying to like shot put it away from you. Well, you would never do that. It would be terrible. What really happens is as soon as you start to change directions, it all starts to unwind pretty simultaneously. The elbow starts to straighten, the wrist starts to come out, and your hands start to do this all almost at the same time. And really fun little fact here. The entire downswing takes about 0.2 of a second, right? I just for fun the other day tried to time myself on a stopwatch to see how long it takes for me to say the word downswing. It takes me about 0.3 seconds to get the word downswing out. Okay, now maybe that's just a North Carolina thing. People up north might be able to get it out faster. But to me, literally, if I just went to the top of the backswing and my entire downswing thought was to say the word downswing, I couldn't get it out before I had to hit the ball. So why the hell am I sitting here trying to think about which one I'm going to time first and all that? I can't. Your brain can't process that in that amount of time. You get to the top and you hit the ball. That's what you do, right? It's not. There might be some sequencing and stuff that you can, in some ways, you can practice the timing of it. But from a swing thought standpoint, it's get it to the top and hit the ball, because hit the ball is really just one motion if you're doing it the right way.
Yeah, we have our intentions, the shot we want to hit, the distance we intended to go, and just build the energy and have your intention of start line or whatever the case may be, whatever helps you. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's so much that goes into
Yeah.
golf as the planning phase, right? Just having the right intention, committing to that intention so that your brain can send clear signals out to the body to do what it needs to do. But and again, you listen to good players during tournaments, and when they struggle, a lot of times they say, "I just couldn't commit to the shot." That's all the hesitation you need. That's all the wires not being perfectly fluid and crossed wires rather, to send that small little bit of an electrical interference that throws it all off. That's it.
Yeah. Static. So, Mike, this particular time of year, Black Friday to say New Year's, how much do you see a change in the energy levels, the motivation levels of your clients for this time of year? Because I got to tell you, like, I really want to hit the ground running and do some big things and work on my swing, work on my game, work on my body. in December, but I'm also sitting here thinking it's probably not going to happen. That's why we always have New Year's resolutions. So I was kind of halfway joking about, my main goal now is to just undo what's been done in the last week, probably. But how hard is it? Do you see a fall off is there a difference in the way your clients operate in this particular month of the year compared to the other 11?
Yeah, great question. I think we may have talked about it last episode, or I can't remember if we had hit daylight savings. I think we had, but yeah, man, I'm noticing just a lot of tired people coming in, and so you mentioned the holidays. So from pretty much here until New Year's, I have to sometimes invent the energy for them because they're coming in. Their work, if they're still working, they're trying to get all their end of the year numbers in. They're I think golf, sports, whatever, it's hard to compartmentalize, right? So when they come in, they're bringing all their baggage in with them, and so they're mentally, emotionally tired from the year and so it's a challenge, and it's fun. That's a great question. I think this is the time of year where I have to ratchet myself up and get excited for them because a lot of them are coming. It's colder, and so they're moving slower. They're all bundled up, and then they got to take their jackets off, and they're just like So, man, well, that's a great question. So I think for me the challenge is how can I help them set aside all their junk, get them ready to go because it gets dark earlier, the stress of the holidays, but before you know it, it'll be warm again and they'll get super excited. But yeah, this is where I call people up that I haven't seen in a while and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
because they can't play golf because they're like, "Hey, man, I'm just too busy playing." Well, they're not busy, and it's busy now, and so yeah, I'll start to see some old faces I haven't seen come back in. And yeah, I guess to answer your question though, yeah, it's just I got to be on top of my game this time of year because there's a lot of people that are not enthusiastic about being in the gym because they're not playing as much golf and they're cranky and they're retired and they're home more and their wife is having them do more stuff around the house and they're like, crap, I wish I was out playing for 4 hours.
Well, let me ask this. This is an interesting question or interesting concept. So, I don't wonder if there isn't anything wrong with going through these natural rhythms of life, right? Like, unless you live in
Yeah.
Texas or California where the weather is golf weather all year round, is there really anything
There you
wrong
go.
with saying, hey, it's the end of the season, it's time to focus on other things? I could focus on my nutrition, get that, let's try to get that right, going into the new year. I could focus on some small changes in my fitness routine, adding a walk here and there, doing some stretching in the morning and the evening before bed. And then from the golf side of things, I know Garrett had mentioned really trying to dive into the mental side of things. That's low hanging fruit for everybody. Getting a book or two on the mental side of
Mm,
golf, and it doesn't have to be golf related. It could just be like mental health and confidence in general. Anything can help. There's all kinds of ways to continue to work on golf goals or fitness goals, even if the natural flow and rhythm of life is such that we can't get out there and hit golf balls because there's frost on the ground or it's just too cold, so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Well, yeah, we had an episode early a couple months ago where we talked about how we're starting to get into the off season a little bit, but this is the depths of the off season right now. Like December, January, February are probably the 3 months that you're going to get to play. Yes, it's not nearly quite as intense in September, October, even maybe November as it was in May, June, July. That's kind of your peak. But this is by far the deadest time for golfers in terms of being able to get out. I mean, you just don't have enough daylight. We're literally right at the shortest days of the year right now that we're going to have. So it's kind of understandable that you may not have the same motivation that you might have because your next real round of your next meaningful round of golf might be 4 months away right now, right? So the further you look out in the
hmm
future, the harder it is to get to stay motivated about it. But yeah, I think you kind of predicted my next question a little bit because it's yes, we're going to have a little bit of a lack of motivation, but what do we do about it? Do we try to fight through it or do we embrace it a little bit and say, okay, this is a good time of year to focus on other things? The mental thing is a big one. I spent a long time the other day just thinking about the concept of staying present and how difficult we find that sometimes. I'm always thinking at least 5 minutes into the future, 20 minutes into the future, 2 days into the future about things that you have absolutely no control over. And that's something you can practice riding down the road. You can just focus on, where's my mind right now? Is my mind on what I'm going to be doing tomorrow? Is my mind on what I'm going to be doing when I get home? Or is it on driving the car and doing what I need to do this very moment? So all those little mental exercises you can do, they don't necessarily seem like they have anything to do with your golf game, but they 100% do, because that's the thing we all struggle with on the golf course, is that we're always constantly thinking 2, 3, 12 steps ahead. So now's a great time of year to practice some of those things.
Seems very similar to the idea I was shunned for a few episodes of visualization and the mental game.
You
Hmm.
weren't shunned for it. I said that I wasn't good at it. I said that when I visualized, I got the shanks. I didn't say that it was a bad concept. I said I can't do it.
So here we go. So now you figured out, well, now it's a perfect time to work on some of those demons or whatever you have going on with your image of yourself as a golfer and the shanks or whatnot. But no, it's all the same stuff, right? It's all the same. Finding ways to work on things you can work on when you can work on them. What was I was watching a video the other day or listening to an interview with someone. Oh, I know what it is. It was probably this. I'm, rereading Bob Rotella's Unconscious Putting. Or not Bob Rotella, it was, Dave Stockton. It's Dave Stockton. Man, I'm see Bob Rotella and Dave Stockton. But Dave Stockton is getting into this whole thing with his putting. The way he teaches and has his son teach putting is it's almost all mental. It's almost all visualization and process and mental imagery. And he won 2 PGA championships and quite a few times on the tour. But he was talking about how important it was just to have that positive image of yourself of I'm a good putter, right? Even if I missed a few 5-footers early in the round, I'm still a good putter. And he went through a slump there one time, and he actually had some people make him a video montage reel with like this crescendo, really invigorating music and just highlight reel of him making putts. And he's like, I just watched that over and over and over and over and over until I reminded myself, look how many putts you've made and look how good of a putter you are. And that helped him get out of the slump. But he talks about that a lot, about just the mental aspect of viewing yourself positively and trusting yourself and not second guessing, not having lack of commitment, this, that, and the other. So it's pretty fascinating stuff. But there's lots of different videos too I've seen recently with professional golfers talking just about how much they practice mentally and how much they see themselves positively making the shot, making the putt, whatever the case may be.
Speaking of putting, I actually have two different. Speaking of puttings, there is a ad that keeps popping up for this device called the putting thing. Have you seen that?
The putting thing, is it the board that you rock your putter against, or?
It's a board that has like these adjustable gates for the club head to pass through, and then another 2 more adjustable gates for the ball. And here's my question. Basically, I think it's a cool concept. I don't know if I necessarily even need to invest in buying the product, because it seems to me like it's the exact same thing as going to a putting green and putting 2 tees down on each side of your putter, and then 2 more tees slightly closer together, straight in front of you where you want the ball to go through. The idea is to kind of teach you how to make center contact with the putter, and then also make sure you're lined up properly. I want to at least give the drill a try to see, okay, because I have done absolutely nothing to work on my putting in the last 12 months. Maybe 5 sessions I've spent practicing putting. I'm not a terrible putter. I'm not a great putter. I can make most of my putts inside 4 or 5 feet. I don't make a ton of 20 or 30 footers, like most people don't make a ton of those. So it's pretty rare that my putting has cost me a ton lately. So I haven't had that same motivation to go out and practice it. But wintertime, really, really good time for me to start working on that. And Sully's has a free putting green that I can use anytime I want to. So there's absolutely no excuse to not practice it more. So that was just something I didn't know if you had happened to come across that particular device and had any feedback on it. But it's just
I think I might have seen it. Yeah.
it's a simple concept. It's just because putting is not. It's a simple concept in general. Line it up, hit it solid, and get the read right. That's and your speed, obviously. So there's not a whole lot to putting, but that may be the thing that we overcomplicate the most. We've got more putting styles and putting grips and different things we can do with that. So that's something that I really want to work on. And even if you don't have a Sully or something like that, I mean, a putting mat's what, $60 or something. If you've got anything in your house that has carpet in it, you can throw a glass down and work on different. There's plenty of ways to practice your putting.
So, having reread this book and just focusing on the visualization of putting, I changed my routine. The last few rounds I've played, my putting has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, I've made so many putts that I usually miss or overcomplicate. My lag putting has been better. It's been really freeing because it's not so like I'm not even lining the line on the ball up anymore. I just see it, visualize it, stand behind the ball, rock my putter while I'm looking at the hole so that I get my symmetrical size of stroke locked in, walk into the ball, stare at the hole, stare at the hole, stare at the hole, stare at the hole until I see exactly where the ball is going to fall in at, and then immediately just go to it and putt. It's like Tiger Woods saying he used to putt to a picture. I'm not very good at taking a mental
Hmm.
picture, so I just stare at the hole until I'm ready to go. And it's insane. Like, it's insane how close you'll get when you free your body up. And his whole concept is whenever he has a new student, whether they're a beginner or a professional golfer, come to him, he has them sign their name, right? Just sign your name on a piece of paper. He goes, now I want you to think about exactly how you manufacture that and try to copy it exactly, stroke for stroke, line for line, like try to do it. And they can't even come anywhere close because it's so subconscious and
Yeah.
automatic. And he's like, look at all the different great players. They've all had different putting grips, stances, techniques. Some hook their putts, some slice their putts, some are push putters, some are pull putters, whatever. But it's the whole thing of like, can you get the ball started on the line you intend to go in the hole? And that's it, right? That's pretty much it with the right speed. So it's been really fun to go through. It's not a long book; it's a very short book, but I've really enjoyed that a lot. It's something I just decided to work on, and it's really helped me a lot.
With putting, though, there are still some basic fundamentals that are generally accepted as things that all good putters do. Having your eyes directly over the golf ball when you're addressing it.
Hmm.
Uh, that's probably the only one that I'm 100% sure that I've never heard anybody say that that was not a correct fundamental. But even things like trying to make sure that you're rolling the ball end over end and you're not putting any cut spin and things like that on it. Even are things like that even necessarily 100% every single putter on the PGA Tour does that? Or are there great putters on the PGA Tour who maybe may put a little cut spin on it or put a little top spin on it?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, well, Charlie Woods, Tiger's son, basically said he can't play a scramble with his dad because his dad hooks his putts. So it's tough for him to follow his dad's read because he says dad hooks every putt he hits. Right? So, I don't know how much of that is just, being
Does
silly or
Tiger
is
agree
him
with
giving his
that?
dad crap, but, no, I think he does. I think he actually does agree with it.
Oh, really?
But you've played in scrambles before where you'll get behind and see someone roll a putt, and you're like, they're aimed way left of where they said they're trying to start this ball, and then they push it online. And the next guy will get up
Yeah.
and they'll be like, oh man, I guess it's farther left. And they aim left and they happen to pull their putts and they miss it way left. Then you're sitting there as the third or fourth person to go, and you're like, man, I don't know what this putt does, So, and Dave
Yeah,
Stockton, the book
exactly.
says he specifically does not watch other people putt because he knows not everybody putts the same way. So he's like, I don't even watch how their putt goes because some might aim left and push it, some might aim right and pull it, whatever. I think I told you the story of when Sam Putt Lab first came out. I forget who the golfer was, but they were obsessed with trying to zero out their putting stroke, and they found that they were a 2-degree pull putter every single time. And they finally got their stroke to where they got to zero, but then they never really made putts again on tour because they had trained their whole
Yeah.
life with a slight 2-degree pull putt. So it's very unique. It's
Yeah.
very simple. I mean, it doesn't take great athleticism or good sequence. Putting is like a 1-to-1 ratio. It's not a 3-to-1. But Dave Stockton does say the most important thing is getting a good roll on the ball. He thinks if you can roll the ball well, then you have the chance to be a really good
Mhm.
putter. So he doesn't want to see a lot of
Are
backspin at
the
the start, skipping, because that can be struggle with distance control as well.
are the launch monitors, I know that there are settings and things like that that I can go in and customize on the simulator. Did they give you any relative feedback, and is it reliable feedback when you're using, like, the launch monitors for putting?
For putting,
Because I know it'll give me the data. I don't know if it's accurate or meaningful. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Foresight came out with their putting fitting on the GC Quad. TrackMan has the putter fitting on TrackMan. I think if you're really going to try to look into like an actual in-depth putting analysis, you need to go to Quintech or Sam Putt Lab. Those are pretty much the two industry standards right now. Not to say TrackMan or Quad isn't a good starting point. At least give you the launch of the ball and like a relative skid pad, like how much roll to
Yeah.
skid ratio. But you can also do that
Yeah.
with your slow motion phone. You can put a line on the ball and
Right.
face the line to the camera vertically, and then when you putt, you can see if it's going backwards, horizontal, or forwards. and get a good estimate of the initial roll. But you can also just see the ball roll. You know, if you've got like a Truvis or a triple track or something like that line on your ball, you can see how it's rolling pretty quick. You know, it doesn't take a rocket science to really see and tell if you're putting a good roll on the ball.
Yeah.
What brand of putter do you guys use? Or what style of mallet do you guys use?
I use a Lab direct force putter. I got it for free like 4 years ago before they became cool and all the cool kids have one, and I still like that one. But again, it doesn't matter. There's tour players who've won major championships with like a $25 bargain bin putter that they just happened to buy right before the tournament because their putter got lost and you know, or broken in transit or their bag got lost or something like that, and they're just like, I just needed something. You know, if it looks good to your eye and you feel like you can hit your line with it, it really doesn't matter what you putt with.
Yeah, I've always had a little bit of a bias towards mallet style putters, especially these like the one that I put with now is the I can't even tell you what it is. It's the TaylorMade like Monza, one of those style putters. But then I've got a couple that are a little bit more traditional, like the Catalina 2, Scotty Cameron's one that I've always kept one of those, and I'll get it out once in a while, and it's one that I always seem to go back to. So yeah, everybody's got their own style. For me, I really wish that I could just learn how to putt with a traditional putter with a standard grip on it. I love these super stroke grips, and at least two of my putters have some form of a super stroke on it. But to me, I feel like good putters don't need the gimmicks to be able to putt well. So I kind of feel like I'm somehow inferior because I have to use those types of things. But there's a lot those types of things have become really common even on tour now too. So it's like I also putt left hand low. I've tried my best to learn how to putt conventionally, but I always seem to putt a little bit better left hand low. So yeah, putting is just one of those things that there's 100 different if there's 100 ways to swing a golf club, there's 10,000 ways to putt. It seems like you just got to find something that's repeatable. But so Ty Hill, what did you think? Tony's played
Loved
did
it.
they have the windmill still up there in the clown's mouth?
Nope, they did not. It was wonderful. And I called Garrett right after I was driving out, and I told him, he's like, "You got to be trolling me right now. There's no way you actually like that golf course." I was like, "I loved it. It was so much fun." Now, part of it was the company, right? I played with my buddy Preston and David Kahn, who's a golf course architect, and Preston works with him. And then David's next door neighbor, Jeff. My name's Jeff. And yes, that came up like a million times. But we also came up with our very own game to play. And the game became called Oh Baby by the end of it. Is Oh Baby. And the reason why is because on hole number 9, which is a very steep uphill par 4, you can't see the bottom of the flagstick. I hit a 9-iron from like 135 that was flag hunting. I was like, "Oh, baby." You know, I thought it was going to be great. It ended up like 10 yards long or whatever, long on the green. So they were giving me crap for it the rest of the day. Oh, baby. Every shot, oh, baby. But anyway, it came with this really fun game to play. And they've already created a website app type version to score keep and everything for it. It's a lot of fun. But no, I thought it was a aside from a few greens, which yes, were very gimmicky, you know, but I thought the tee shots were very fair. You know, you didn't have a lot that was really out of the ordinary as far as unfair or just didn't know what to do. If you had a good aerial app where you could see top down, you kind of knew where to go. I liked a lot of the approach shots. Yeah, I just thought it was a beautiful, beautiful golf course, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely the handicap rating is garbage because they said the handicap rating from the tips when we played was only like 2 strokes, a stroke and a half harder than, you know, par, and the pro in there, who was very nice, he comped my entire group, which was awesome, so kudos, Tot Hill Farm, I appreciate that. Even they were like, "It's gonna play 8 to 10 strokes harder than the rating says it is." So, it's really tough. Yeah. But it's fun. I loved
Yeah,
it.
that's its own conversation we could get into sometime about the rating system and how they come up with that. Because I agree, a lot of golf courses, I feel like you can put me 2 courses side by side with the exact same rating, and they're not going to play nearly the same a lot of times. I don't really understand exactly why that is, but in fairness to Tot Hill Farm, I agree with the assessment. Tee to Green, it is a beautiful golf course. It is,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely beautiful. The
in a
farm
great area
equipment
around there.
and the little old truck and everything like
Yeah,
that, just wonderful. Super cute.
yeah,
Very scenic.
it's beautiful. And tee to green, it's very fair. Tee to green, there's not a lot of gimmicks to it. My entire beef with the entire golf course was definitely the greens. And you know, I was 16. Maybe that wasn't the most fair. Maybe I wasn't the most fair to it. If they'll comp me, I'll come back and do a new review. How about that?
I'm sure
But,
I can make that happen. But the thing is, I would say again, to be fair, like I wasn't going there looking to shoot a score. I was going there to have fun with friends and experience another Mike Strand's gym, and one that's widely heralded as a fun, goofy, whatever you want to call it, whatever anybody describes it. That was my mindset. Go in and have fun and experience the course, not shoot a score. I did birdie the first hole, so
yeah.
there was that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it is a golf course that if that's the mindset that you take,
Mhm.
you're going to have a heck of a lot more fun than if you're trying to post a score. And I was definitely more in a, post a score mindset. So anyway, well, guys, I appreciate y'all taking away from your Friday after Thanksgiving to do this. Always have a blast talking to you guys. So really enjoyed it. Appreciate it. If you're listening to the podcast, check out the YouTube channel at Best Golf Podcast Ever. If you're watching on YouTube, please like the video. That it's amazing how much more popular the videos go that get a lot of likes. So please like it and get Mike and Tony's beautiful faces up there to more people. And check out, we're a little behind. We got to get back together and record some more because I'm almost out of content to release. I've got a couple more I've got to get out from Mike and maybe one more from Tony. But we got to get back together in the flesh soon.
Yeah, the semester's about to end, so I'll have a lot more bandwidth. It's just heavy grading time and everything like that, end of the semester chaos. So once that's over, I'll be much more flexible.
I will say I'm not coming back into the gym until I can look a little bit better than I look right now. I'd have to wear sweats right now if I come in there. I'm not showing this body off at all until after the new year, but we'll figure something out.
People demand relatability.
Enjoy it, guys. See, I'm wearing all black. Everybody says black.
Black is
slimming.
Worked for
until February.
That was Phil Mickelson's trick all those years. So
I will say this now. I fell for Phil's. If you guys have seen Phil's coffee mixer, the good stuff, I did buy some of that, and it's actually pretty good. I enjoy it's got a decent flavor to it, and definitely helped my focus a lot. So I will give if you are old and struggling with energy like at least I am, it's a nice little addition to your morning coffee. Kind of give you a little extra boost. So give it a shot. The good stuff.
The good
Props
stuff.
to Phil. That's right.
All
All right,
right,
guys.
gobble gobble.
See ya.
gig 'em.
Bye.
I'll see y'all soon.
Yeah, you're cutting out on me, G.
Oh, really?
We just see, and then Tony's right about everything. Golf is hard. I suck. Yeah, you've reached your word limit. Yeah,
That's
Riverside is saying this guy said too much.
Like
He's
Sully.
done. They're timing him out. Send him packing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take over for Garrett now.
There
and,
you go. He's probably been cursing
including
us this
cell
whole
reception.
time. These mother beep beep and the boop
Yeah.
boop beep beep. Tot Hill is up to suck beep beep.